Welcome to Royal Daily Report, your trusted source for breaking royal news. Before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. Listen, let me tell you what really happened at Dior Paris. Meghan Markle just got blacklisted. When Meghan Markle landed in Paris, she wasn't just visiting, she was staging a comeback. Her team called it a private fashion trip. But inside Dior's marble offices, staff were already told what to do. There would be no meetings, no fittings, and no exceptions. Sources close to the company claimed her name had been quietly marked. A note went around weeks earlier saying no unplanned visits from the Duchess. All questions through lawyers. Still, Meghan arrived confidently, saying she had an appointment for a couture session, but the list said otherwise. No entry, no reservation, and certainly no working together. What was meant to be a private reconnection turned into a polite, silent rejection. Within hours, rumors started spreading through Paris's fashion hallways. Dior turned her away. It wasn't public yet, but in fashion, word travels faster than press releases. People inside the building described the scene as frosty calm. No shouting, no scandal, just being formal. Dior's communications leader stepped forward, confirmed there was no appointment, and wished her a pleasant day. For Meghan, it was more than an inconvenience. It was embarrassment from the very house she had been chasing for months. Insiders later revealed her team had pitched multiple partnership ideas, everything from an ambassador deal to a modern Diana campaign. The proposals were shiny, ambitious, and written to position her as Dior's new symbol of legacy and rebellion. But inside Dior, the message didn't land the way she hoped. One executive supposedly said, "We dressed legends. We don't create them from controversy." After that, her name disappeared from Dior's contact lists. The polite rejection that morning was simply the final act of a decision already made. Days later, the proof came out. Leaked communications showing Meghan's outreach to Dior had been ongoing for months. Her final proposal reportedly included a statement comparing herself to Princess Diana's elegance reimagined for a new generation. That was the breaking point. Dior's board didn't want a PR storm. They wanted distance. Behind closed doors, they voted to blacklist her from all pending collaborations. A move later copied by several other luxury labels. Then came the twist. As Dior executives tried to keep the matter private, social media lit up with sudden praise for Meghan's Dior style. Influencers repeated the same lines, the same hashtags, all strangely identical. Dior's internal investigators traced it back to agencies tied to Meghan's PR network. To Dior, it looked like an attempt to fake a connection. After rejection, within hours, the house released a brief off-record statement to editors across Europe. Dior has no current or planned partnership with the Duchess of Sussex. One line, no further comment. It was calm, but it was final. In the world of couture, silence isn't peace, it's punishment. When Dior cut ties, it didn't end there. Inside the LVMH network, the empire that owns Dior, Fendi, Givenchy, and Louis Vuitton, Meghan's name began circulating on an internal restricted list. These lists aren't public, but every major brand has them. Names too controversial, too unpredictable, or simply not worth the risk. Executives across houses reviewed their own plans and quietly followed suit. Givenchy, which once dressed her for royal events, was the first to back away. Chanel declined future pitches. Even stylists who once pulled luxury samples for her received subtle warnings. Avoid association. It wasn't personal, it was protection. The Duchess had become what the fashion world fears most, a PR liability in couture clothing. Paris didn't exile her publicly, it just stopped responding. In that silence, the blacklist spoke louder than any headline. But Meghan wasn't about to accept defeat. Days later, she made a surprise appearance at Balenciaga's Paris Fashion Week show, a move meant to reassert her place among fashion's elite. The cameras clicked, the lights flashed, and for a moment, it looked like her comeback story had arrived, except it hadn't. Insiders at the show said the energy shifted the moment she walked in. "You could feel the air freeze," one stylist whispered. Editors kept their distance. Designers turned politely cold. The applause that followed her entry was polite, not powerful. And while the photos looked glamorous, those who were there described it as awkward theater. No designer approached. No stylist offered congratulations. Behind the scenes, the real talk wasn't about her outfit. It was about how far she'd fallen from fashion's inner circle. The cameras caught her smile. Paris caught the silence. Backstage at Balenciaga, whispers began to spread. The kind Paris never forgets. Stylists and assistants traded quiet comments about the Duchess. Not about her dress, not about her hair, but about something far less forgiving. One source described a heavy scent, another mentioned too much perfume, like something was being covered. Whether true or exaggerated, it didn't matter. In fashion, gossip spreads faster than fragrance. By the time the after-party ended, the talk had left the building. Within hours, staffers from multiple brands were exchanging messages about it. Some dismissed it as cruel chatter. Others said it reflected the tension she brought into every room. The verdict wasn't about hygiene, it was about energy. Paris forgives arrogance. It forgives scandal, but it never forgives when the atmosphere turns heavy, literally or figuratively. And that night, the air around Meghan Markle was suffocating. Then came the moment that turned unease into outrage. After leaving the show, Meghan was seen filming near the Pont Lauma tunnel, the same tunnel where Princess Diana's life ended. Her team claimed it was just a scenic drive, but the city didn't buy it. For a woman who had publicly compared herself to Diana, the choice of location felt intentional. To many Parisians, it crossed a sacred line. Insiders whispered that she wanted to reclaim Diana's story to draw an emotional parallel. But to those who lived through that tragedy, it was tone-deaf, even morbid. A senior stylist who once worked with Dior summed it up quietly. Diana's legacy belongs to memory, not marketing. That single drive, filmed or not, did more damage than any Dior rejection could. Because in Paris, the city that still mourns Diana, it felt like performance, masquerading as tribute. By the end of Fashion Week, the illusion had shattered completely. People who once admired her poise now questioned her purpose. Balenciaga had not dressed her for the event. Her outfit was borrowed, not gifted. The shoes, simple black pumps, were the only genuine piece from the brand. The rest had been arranged through intermediaries, not the label itself. To the fashion elite, that was code for exclusion. No custom fittings, no courtesies, no personal touch. She wasn't a guest of honor. She was a guest of circumstance. And that's when Paris turned. Editors who once flattered her began to keep their distance. Stylists declined requests. Even photographers stopped angling for her best side. It wasn't cruelty. It was quiet rejection. Because in Paris, they don't boo you out of the room. They just stop looking up when you enter it. When Meghan boarded her flight home, the cameras still flashed, but the warmth behind them was gone. Paris had decided the Dior incident wasn't an isolated embarrassment. It was a reflection of something deeper, the illusion of belonging. She came to France believing she could rewrite her image, that couture could restore what controversy had taken. Instead, she discovered that style without authenticity is just costume. The Duchess, who once captivated the world, now stood at the edge of her own performance. Stripped of applause, in chasing Diana's reflection, she lost her own. Paris doesn't reward imitation, it exposes it. One editor's note in Le Figaro captured the sentiment perfectly. The difference between Diana and Meghan was never just grace, it was truth. By the time she left the city, the whispers had turned to silence. Not scandal, just conclusion. Because in the end, Meghan didn't walk out of Paris as fashion royalty. She walked out as a reminder that in the world of high couture, admiration cannot be demanded. It must be earned. And for Meghan Markle, Paris decided she'd earned only one thing: distance. This has been Royal Daily Report. Stay tuned for more breaking royal news and stories. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest updates.